Drury at Wembley. He could play for...
Hello family, back to Super Football World. It's another episode. We're going to look into some of the things that I predicted last week. I told you Leeds was going to be a tough game and they really proved it. You see how they did a number on Liverpool. Liverpool was shocked. Me, I'd say if it is not for the penalties, Liverpool would have lost that game. Another amazing stat I saw in the Leeds versus Liverpool game was that this is the first promoted team to actually have the most passes versus Liverpool, the most possession versus Liverpool, and a promising attack. I mean, they never feared to challenge Van Dijk and Joe Gomez. Alexander-Arnold looked like he was out of the game, which is really a surprise to me, considering he's considered now as the best right back in the world. So it was a tough game, and I said, first game of the season, everybody want a taste of the blood. First blood pause, which team wins, which team doesn't, what's the impression they have on the new season, and Leeds look to bring a lot of problems in this season, that I can tell you. Because if they are testing defenses like Liverpool in such a manner, 3 goals at home, which is a surprise, 3 goals at Anfield, which is definitely a surprise, Leeds are really going to cause havoc in Premier League this season. And I pray they continue with the same energetic style of play, the Marcelo Bielsa press, which was really stressing Liverpool's midfield. We cannot take it away from Liverpool because their star man was Mohamed Salah, who scored a hat-trick, 2 penalties, 1 goal. They really did their part, yes, and also the penalties were really silly mistakes from Leeds. I can tell you that, because it wasn't like it was an unfair one. It was mistakes which they could have avoided. Even Bielsa said, even if it's the first game, such mistakes should be looked into, you know. But Leeds are really doing something. I was really impressed with their first impression in the Premier League, and I think if Marcelo Bielsa is given the patience, they are really going to do something great in the Premier League. Because, you know, as I say, I think I mentioned it in the last video, Premier League is known of their brand of football. You know, Chelsea, Man City have a brand of football, Liverpool have a brand of football, Man United have a brand of football. If you don't have a brand of football, it makes it hard for a player, even a new signing, no matter the stature, it makes it hard for the player to adopt. Because if they're coming to a team that is learning on how to do a certain type of football, it's gonna take time for them to adapt, because it seems even the players who are there are struggling to adapt. Another game of the weekend that really impressed me was Chelsea versus Brighton. Oh yes, I hear there's a lot of talk that Chelsea wasted. Let me not say wasted. Chelsea invested a lot in their attack, but they actually offered nothing in this 3-1 win against Brighton. But all I can say is, football fans, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. They're not robots. They're players, you know. You can see even the new players had their first impression about how the league is looking like. Because you had Timo Werner said, which was really funny. He said that he has never played against such tall players in his life. Because I mean, Lewis Dunk is about 6'5". I mean, that guy is a basketballer, not a footballer. But whatever, man. Shout out to Lewis Dunk. So check this. I'd tell the Chelsea fans who are really impatient just to be patient with these players, because most of the players are under 23s. Chelsea are signing young players who are in a revolutionary stage for the Chelsea team. You know, because let's not doubt these players. You've seen them play. You've seen how Kai Havertz is. You've seen how Timo Werner is. He was really threatening. He was moving into those spaces like a prolific striker. So even if he didn't score, he still has an impression in the league. So me, I can say let's just be patient with these new players, because they are human beings. It also marveled me to a certain extent that actually Brighton had the most possession versus Chelsea, even though they brought more attack, but Brighton was really controlling the game. So this is a positive and a negative depending on which side you're looking on. Me, I'm seeing it as a positive because they had actually 13 shots and 3 on target. So it means they had spaces to shoot, but the defenders made it hard for them to score, which I have been saying the past year to my friends and my Chelsea fans. For me, my own opinion is Chelsea have no issues with the defense. That's what I think. You know, yes, once or twice a player makes a mistake. What? Yeah, they make a mistake. Once or twice people make mistakes. But for me, I think the only problem I think would have been solved in the defensive area. I think Chelsea should have bought a keeper to keep Kepa on toes, because most goals I watched last season, Kepa was caught off guard. I mean, you're a keeper. Your reactions should be better than, 5-3 versus Liverpool. 4 goals, he was standing. You're a keeper. Just jump at least, show some effort. So, I think Chelsea have a good defense. Young players, Fikayo Tomori came out last season, and they were doing good, something we could have not expected, you know. Now they've signed Thiago Silva. We never saw him play in the game, but give Chelsea a chance, you know. Buying good players doesn't make you a perfect team, you know. It takes time to build the relation, to build the chemistry. So be patient with Chelsea. They're going to bear fruit, definitely. Because Ziyech, I never saw him in that game. So be patient with Chelsea, because I think they're going to do something in the near future. Because even that's how they started last season. You know, Chelsea started last season with a 4-0 defeat versus Manchester United, but they finished at the top 4, something no one expected. You know, everybody was against Chelsea after the 4-0. They were expecting Lampard to be sacked, which is a Premier League culture these days. A 4-0 defeat means it's a straight up sack, which is really unreasonable if you ask me, because I think that's the reason Manchester United hasn't gone back to where it was, because after Alex Ferguson left, it's been an ins and outs when it comes to coaches, you know, which actually confuses the players, because each coach has their way of football, their brand that they're bringing into the team. So when it doesn't sink in, and then you bring another coach to start another new one, and another coach to start a new one, it's going to cause a lot of confusion in the game. Look at this, look at the Manchester United playing right now. Them being patient with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is starting to bear fruit. Young players are coming through. Daniel James is considered a really big threat these days. You know, his speed is something else. And Manchester United are actually perfecting in the counter-attack system, which was really massive in their end of the season for them to qualify for the Champions League. So it goes back to the same point I was saying before. Let's be patient with these players. Let's be patient with these coaches, because you cannot give a coach 6 months and expect him to be Superman. I don't think if it's Superman, okay, whatever. Let me not bring Superman in this story, but whatever, man. Well, this weekend we have Everton. No, Everton. I have to mention Everton. I think Everton pulled up a very good display. It was a marvelous debut for James Rodriguez. I mean, he was doing good playing of football in that game. I was really impressed on how he adapted to the English game, you know, switching plays, doing good positions. I mean, James Rodriguez was doing something else, and they did good versus Tottenham. I mean, they stunned Tottenham in a very good game, because I think they would have scored more, if you ask me. They would have scored more. They had really good opportunities. So I don't want to be like biased on how I speak on these vlogs, but I mean, I got to give it to the teams that are actually doing good, because I actually told you Liverpool and Leeds is going to be a tough game. If you didn't watch the other video, go back and see. Liverpool versus Leeds was going to be a tough game. Arsenal, I said a 3-1, and it came out as 3-0, which was almost close. Tottenham, that's where I failed. I actually thought Tottenham would win, but whatever. Everton did good. So this weekend we got Everton versus West Brom, which I think is straightforward. For me, I'm with Everton this one. Everton is really doing good. They have adapted. They are very good players, and they're really correlating with each other in the field. You see how they played in the EFL this week. Everton are doing good. Everton versus West Brom, I'm going with Everton. We have Leeds versus Fulham, newly promoted, so I think there's a connection. They know each other, so it's going to be a tough game, I'd say, because they've been promoted, both of them. We have Manchester United versus Crystal Palace. Manchester are at home, so For Manchester United, I cannot really speak. I'd have to see like a couple of games to see where they're going. But for their pride, I'd say Manchester United would really fight for a win because they lost at Aston Villa last week. And Arsenal versus West Ham, that is going to be tough. That's going to be tough because actually West Ham had a really good, intro to the league. The first game, they really did good, which I was really impressed. So, and that game is Southampton versus Tottenham. I think Tottenham will have a point to prove after losing 1-0. But Southampton, actually, I had high hopes for us. Southampton are going to start the season. But I think this is going to be tough. But I'm giving it to Tottenham again. Newcastle versus Brighton. Newcastle are at home. They also had a very good entry to the season. I think Newcastle are going to win this one. And then we have Chelsea versus Liverpool. It's a blockbuster. You better sit down, get that popcorn and a soda, and let's make it happen. Let me see you bet on that game. Let me see you bet. If you're bold, bet on it. And then you hit me on the comments to tell me how good you are. I'm going to give you some tips about how I did with the Leeds game. Haha. Leicester versus Burnley. Oh, Leicester. I'm seeing a top 6 for Leicester this season. I'm seeing a top 6 for Leicester this season. Let me tell you, because their signings, they haven't lost a lot of players, and they added good young players into this team. You know, it's amazing. You know, I think Leicester. Watch out for Leicester, folks. Watch out for Leicester. So I'm gonna say this, people. Let's see how this weekend is gonna be. Like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you think about the predictions, and then I'll hit you back. And I'm gonna do another video. I'm looking into doing another video about the analysis of how the Premier League works, because the question is Premier League the best league in the world? Write in the comments what you think. I may do a video about it. Big out, shut up. My name is Super King Down. We're doing this with the Super Football World. Welcome. We love you.